discussing the story of a Costa Rican government official who was just fired from her job because of a videotape she made in private in her bedroom for her boyfriend.
A sexy tape.
In her bra and panties. An online campaign has been launched by supporters who have taken to posting photos of themselves in various stages of undress, holding a sign that reads, "We are all Karina."
Uh-huh.
I joined that campaign. I did. I posted a picture of myself with the sign that says, "I am Karina."
Uh-huh.
You want to see it?
Okay, yes. You got a picture?
Of course.
That's my favorite part, is you showing me pictures.
I am Karina.
Oh, my goodness.
I am Karina.
I see. You look good. I'm keeping that. I'm taking that home with me. I might frame that.
She is a former stage magician and stage hypnotist. He was voted Variety Entertainer of the Year in the Excellence in the Arts Awards. Did we mention they also used to be married to each other? Now they have rejoined forces for a talk radio show? From the East Coast to the West, all across America. Two voices of logic and reason. Live from the entertainment capital of the world, Victoria Wayne and Doug Basham. They are X's on the air.
Well, let's have at it, folks. It's another wayward, wicked day here in Las Vegas. If you got some time, hey, let's talk. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. My name is Doug Basham.
And I'm Victoria Wayne, and welcome to another unpredictable edition of X's on the Air.
The website is www.xsontheair.com. The address to email us on the air or off is show@xsontheair.com. And while you're at our website, look for the links to both our Facebook and Twitter pages. Friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Well, good afternoon, beloved X. You look absolutely gorgeous today.
Well, nice of you to say so.
Any news stories that caught your attention this week?
No, there's none.
Well, it's a good thing one of us did some prep then.
Sure it is.
I did. I have your back. Also, we have a new segment we're going to be doing today, introducing. It's going to be called our X's Story of the Week.
Yes, you mentioned that.
And we'll get to all of our stories momentarily.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Momentarily.
But before we do that,
momentarily.
Before we do that, let me remind you that any of the stories that we do discuss on the show, that we have the link to the full story on our website. And again, that is bashamandwayne.com. And
or xsontheair.com.
Or X's on the Air. Yes, you didn't write that down here. And our website is also a blog, which means that you can post your comments on any of the news stories that you see here.
Or you can just call us while we're on the air and give us your take on them immediately.
That's right. And our number here at the station is 257-KDWN. That's 257-5396. Or you could email us at xsontheair.com.
What was that email address again? Show, and then I lost it? Was it show@xsontheair.com?
That was it.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, V, you remember last week I had a story I said got to me? The story about the journalist who said he hoped that three girls whose boyfriends died in the Colorado theater shooting after they threw themselves on top of their girlfriends were worthy of their boyfriend's sacrifice?
I do remember you.
And I told you that story got to me.
Uh-huh.
I have another one this week that got to me even more.
Oh, I hope it's more interesting than that one.
Well, to most people, that story last week was interesting.
Yes, that's true. I'm the exception.
Yes, to the rule.
To the rule.
To you, a story about cleaning up dishes after dinner is top priority.
Well, that was my own story. That's different.
Exactly. Anyhow,
yes.
This is a story. It got to me, and I think it's a story that most hosts wouldn't touch because it centers around patriotism and why we're not being more patriotic at this year's Olympics.
Uh-huh.
But you see, V, you and I aren't most hosts. So we're going to touch it. You see, patriotism is one of those those touchy subjects for many, and a lot of people just kind of blindly go along with any story that has that word in it because they think it makes them look unpatriotic to disagree.
Okay.
But I disagree with their disagreement.
Oh, tell me the story.
I think this is probably one of the dumbest interviews I've heard in a long time.
Okay.
And I thought we'd play it, dissect it, give our take on it, and see if the folks out there had a take on it as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's give it a listen. Cut number 1, Jim.
There was a proud moment at the Olympics yesterday when 16-year-old Gabby Douglas won a gold medal in gymnastics. The crowd went wild with cheers.
Now remember that. She just said the crowd went wild with cheer. Let's go to the next clip.
Some folks have noticed that American athletes' uniforms don't carry the stars and stripes look as much as they have in past years. The famous flag-style outfits worn in years past replaced with yellow shirts, gray tracksuits, pink leotards. So how do we show our patriotism at the games?
Now, are you getting the same thing I'm getting here? She goes on about her athletes' outfits, and then she asks, how do we show our patriotism at the games? If you put the two together, can we not assume that she's asking how the athletes can show their patriotism?
Yes.
Okay, next clip.
David Webb is the host of the David Webb Show on Sirius XM Patriot. Hi, David.
How you doing?
So, Gabby had that great moment. Everybody was so excited, and she's in hot pink. And that's her prerogative, but there were,
It is, and gymnasts also adjust their uniforms within boundaries sometimes.
So now they're telling us that it's the athletes themselves that decide what they're going to wear at the Olympics. Now, I don't know for certain, but I don't think that that's their choice to make. I think they're probably told what they can wear. Anyhow, next clip.
What's wrong with showing pride? What we're seeing is this kind of soft anti-American feeling that Americans can't show our exceptionalism. And frankly, if they are offended about our show and our exceptionalism, then they have that right, and I don't care, and neither do most Americans.
Now, I don't get this. He's a soft anti-American feeling that Americans can't show our exceptionalism. Who has these soft anti-American feelings? I mean, if he's talking about our athletes, in particular, Gabby Douglas, I don't know, maybe she gets her anti-American, non-patriotic sentiment from her father, who's an Air Force staff sergeant who served in Afghanistan. Which reminds me, why haven't we seen Gabby Douglas's birth certificate? It's obvious she was born in Kenya.
That's a fact.
It's interesting. I mean, in terms of what's behind it, the fact that we're not as vociferous as we once were about shouting USA and draping ourselves in the flag. David Serrata wrote an article for Salon. He has a theory, and that is that back in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles, that we were so filled with national pride and people were covering themselves in the flag and they were chanting that, in fact, the president of the IOC complained that it was making the other countries feel uncomfortable, and so now we've tamped it down. Do you buy that theory?
No, I don't.
And I actually agree with him here, but to get to the point, they're comparing the crowd reaction at the 1984 Olympics, which were in Los Angeles, to the crowd reaction this year in London, or 4 years ago in Beijing, China.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it might have something to do with the fact that the Olympics in 84 were in Los Angeles? I mean, it's almost as if there's more Americans in America than there are in London or Beijing. Well, doesn't that make sense?
Sure, yes.
So are you starting to see why I said this was probably one of the dumbest interviews? I mean, I think they're trying to create something out of nothing here to play the patriotism card, and there's no need. The clip before this, he was saying, well, we can't show American exceptionalism. Our team is leading in the Olympics. We have 14 more medals in second place China. Our basketball team beat Nigeria by 83 points. Exceptionalism shown.
Right.
I mean, Gabby Douglas won the most prized possession in women's gymnastics, the Olympic all-around gold medal. Exceptionalism shown.
Right.
I mean, I would ask this David Webb what he's done lately to be construed as exceptional, except do this interview and makes an exceptionally big fool out of himself.
Okay.
I mean, I don't get where they're coming from. It's like, of course there's going to be more crowd response in L.A.
Right.
I mean, how dare those Britons, those Brits, not go USA when we win. They're from Britain. They're not going to do that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, let's move on. Just wanted to check.
Really?
Every country has the right to cheer for their team. I've been to English soccer matches, and I'm sure that the English men and women are out there cheering loudly in the pubs and having a great time and they should. Spain for their team, the Greeks for their team, any country. But America is America, and we are a very nationalistic nation.
That was a little arrogant, don't you think? America is America, which is true. But then he says we're a very nationalistic nation. I mean, and all you other countries and more. I mean, doesn't that come across as a little arrogant to you?
Perhaps.
You know, I mean, I think this guy's problem is he's confusing patriotism with nationalism. And in my opinion, patriotism always good, nationalism not always so much. And I don't know what this guy's point is. We'll listen to a little more.
But we've also lost over time that jingoistic feeling. You know, the national anthem, we sing it at baseball games. I think that the national anthem should be followed with play ball. It's kind of an American thing. We've lost a little bit of that saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think that plays over into some of this soft acceptance. You know what? Red, white, and blue. Wear it. Wave it. Be proud to be an American. It's not a political issue, but they make it a social issue.
First of all, he's lying. Anybody who says a discussion on patriotism doesn't venture into the arena of politics is lying. Secondly, he says they make it a social issue. Who's they? Who's making this a social issue, and what does that mean? Do you get anything from that at all? I don't understand that clip. He said they make it a social issue.
All I know is that when I was a little girl in grade school, saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag was everything. Feeling that, looking at that flag and that red, white, and blue meant everything. We were taught that. It was beautiful, and we have lost some of that.
Okay, now explain what you just said or relate what you just said to the Olympics, because that's what they're talking about.
Well, they're complaining about what they're wearing. Do you feel they should just wear whatever they want because they're, excelling so much in their.
Well, no, my point is our athletes have won more medals than any other country.
Right.
They stand on the Olympic podium. Mm-hmm. The name of the United States is displayed prominently. The American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, is played.
As it should be.
Does it really? Well, of course, that's protocol at the Olympics. Do we really have to dump on these athletes because they're not wearing a flag?
I think they should be wearing our colors.
Right, but I'm saying, do you think it diminished? Do you think it makes them any less patriotic that they're not?
I don't know. Why are they wearing pink and yellow? I mean, why are they wearing?
Oh, because that's what they competed in.
Yes, but the colors of our flag it's everything. It's our country.
No, I would disagree. The flag is the flag. You've got athletes over there that have spent 4 years.
Yikes.
What do you mean, yikes? They've spent 4 years training. Have you read about any of the training schedules of these athletes?
I have, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so they get up hours before they go to school and train.
Yes.
They have to train after school.
Yes, they are worker bees.
Exactly.
They are hard-working athletes.
Then they go over and represent our country. I think they are being as patriotic as they can be. Whether they wear a flag or a flag pin on their outfit or not.
No, just our colors or our country has lost some of that I was taught as a child in grade school.
How so?
It's just not the same. It's like you take elementary school children and they don't have that feeling that was embedded in me.
Well, I don't know.
Was it embedded in you?
To a certain degree, sure. But I don't think I've lost any of that.
Well, I haven't lost any of that, certainly not. But I think that the newer generations have.
But it's this newer generation that's over in London competing. I mean, I don't see how we can say they've lost anything when they've gone through the schedule they have gone through to do what they're doing over there.
So what's the big deal? Wear red, white, and blue. Well, just wear the colors of your country.
Well, I'm not saying I'm against that, But if for whatever reason they go to the podium wearing what they competed, I don't think someone like this David Webb should come on and question whether they should be more patriotic. If he had just said what you said, why not wear the colors of the country? I could have said, yeah, okay, fair question. But to put it in the context of questioning their patriotism, I think he's got a lot of nerve.
You really let these little things bother you, don't you?
Well, you kind of have to if you're going to create a discussion on talk radio.
Oh, is that it? No, that's
yeah. If you just go on there and say, yeah, well, but yeah, things like this.
But that's not it. Little things bother you in life in general. It carries on very, very much to your personal life.
Oh, so now you want to take this away from patriotism and make it personal, do you? So is that your little way of saying I'm petty?
No, I think you allow petty little things to bother you.
So that was a yes. You didn't have to euphemize it. You just got to go, uh-huh.
I think you are hung up on the small stuff, and you shouldn't sweat the small stuff.
Oh, I agree.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But in all honesty, I don't think some guy by the name of David Webb saying that our athletes who have shown exceptionalism, who have shown their patriotism, should be more patriotic. That bugs me.
I got your
And the
point.
reason he's doing it's basically mindless, shameless pandering to the lowest common denominator of human intellect. You throw a few buzzwords around like patriotic and exceptionalism, and people agree with you because they're too lazy to think for yourself and say, this guy's a butt munch. How dare he denigrate our athletes?
I didn't look at it that way. I didn't feel that he was, and I sort of agree with him.
Well, maybe you didn't listen to the clip as much as I did.
I listened.
You didn't hear her say, how can we be more patriotic?
Yes, I understand. You could be more patriotic by wearing the colors when you're representing our country. I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I certainly wouldn't get hung up on it, and it's something else that I wouldn't think about more than 10 seconds, and then I would move on. But, no, I understand
Didn't we discuss this last night?
Oh, yes, we did.
Apparently.
We did.
Okay, so you don't think it's that big a deal? No. How would you feel if you were one of the athletes who had trained for 4 years and you heard this guy saying, you could be more patriotic?
I would think,
I'd slap him.
I would think, maybe I should have worn the red, white, and blue like some people did.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
If you had trained your butt off for 4 years and were over there winning gold medals, standing on the podium, the Star-Spangled Bangled, whatever, the national anthem playing, the United States being displayed, you wouldn't think you had done your part in the patriotism department?
This wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. But of course you would have worn the colors of your country. It is the newer generations that have lost a little bit of something. But I don't know if it's the newer generation that makes the decision what they wear. Don't you think that comes from an authority higher up? Who, God? No. I was thinking more like a coach. Not the ultimate coach in the sky. Yes. A coach in human form on the sidelines, or, one of the directors or somebody involved in the Olympic program. I mean, you're one of those people that want to take "In God We Trust" off our, dollar bills as well, too. So. No, I just think we should add "In God We Trust," all others pay cash. Well, as far as taking "In God We Trust" off the dollar bill, first of all, there's no reason for it to be on there. I don't care whether they take it off or put it on. I care very much. Why? Why is it important to have "In God We Trust" on a dollar bill? Because I trust in God, and because it's been there for forever. And why change it? I mean, you have some very interesting views, Douglas. No, I just said I don't care if they change it. No. I just said there's no reason for it to be there. But God has to be on our money? It has been does that make way. Does that make us a more Christian nation because we have God's name on a dollar bill? It's not. I would say your Christianity is determined by your actions. Same thing with your patriotism. It doesn't matter what you wear; it's what you do. The proof is in the doing, or the pudding, if you will. Well, there are some that say it's not even a matter what you do; it's just how you believe. But oh, please, it does. So you can believe one thing and do the opposite, but that makes you what you believe. it's coming back to me why we got divorced. I'm getting clear pictures now. But yes.
Why? Because I'm a superior debater? or just that maybe you have no point and I'm belaboring.
Well, you certainly are. And you may be a superior debater, but your views are goofy.
Why? Because they're different than yours?
No.
How come yours aren't goofy because they're different from mine?
Well, yeah. All right. So,
would you be curious to know if anybody else has an opinion on this?
Yes, people should call in.
They could side with you.
Why don't you give them the number?
Yeah, because you threw your paper away like I told you would. If you have a comment on this, folks, what do you think? I'm sure you've watched part of the Olympic proceedings. At any point when you've been watching it, has the thought crossed your mind, I don't see enough patriotism going on here? If it has, let us know. Or do you think I'm right, that this is a big deal over nothing and kind of pandering to buzzwords? And there's no meaning. 257-KDWN is our number here at the station. That's 257-5396. Or you can email us at show@xsontheair.com. Wow, that was interesting.
Uh-huh.
So you're totally on the other side from me on this. You think...
Yeah, I think these I think it's a small thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It certainly wouldn't keep me up at night, but I would imagine it would keep you up at night.
No, it doesn't keep me up at night.
These little things irk you.
But see, here's where we have to put things in perspective.
Uh-huh.
You're saying it's a little thing.
Yes.
To me, it isn't.
But what is a little thing to you? They're all big issues to you. All. That's why you can belabor them forever and go on and talk about them, is because they're all important to you or bother you or keep you up at night.
No. As I said last night.
Yes.
When I'm reading the paper or I'm perusing stories online.
Yes.
I can look at a story and go, meh, and move on.
Right.
But on talk radio, you have to make your point. If you're going to evoke a response from the people, you can't blow it off in a headline in a sentence. Like right now, we have Denise on the phone who has an opinion.
Oh, that's good.
Do you think Denise would have called if we said, some guy said they're unpatriotic, big deal?
I'd like to hear what Denise says.
All right, let's talk to Denise. Denise, you are on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to say that I thought that it was pretty good with the kids, because most kids today aren't patriotic, and they were, some of the ones that I saw were actually singing the national anthem.
Huh.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
So now,
I didn't think it was that bad. If they don't wear the colors, whatever, I didn't think it made them any less patriotic.
Oh, I agree. But then, that was my standpoint.
Well, I would rather that they did, but it wouldn't bother me. It's not, I would have listened to that, to that story and moved on. but
whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody makes too much of a big thing over nothing these days.
Yes. I agree. I absolutely agree. And
yeah.
All right, Denise. Well, I appreciate you calling.
Yeah, very much so. Yes, call back anytime.
Okay, 257-KDWN is the number. That's 257-5396. Isn't that interesting? She kind of agrees with both of us.
Well, I don't think it's that big of a deal either. I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but I would have preferred to see them in our colors. That's all. And if they were adamant about it and said, I don't want to, yeah, you're right. They did work very hard, and they are representing our country regardless, and let's move on. I mean, you know what I mean.
Well, when you put it so succinctly, I mean, how could I derive anything else from it? 257-KDWN is the number, 257-5396. If you would like to tell us your take on David Webb suggesting that maybe our Olympic athletes could be a little more patriotic, or Victoria's opinion that they should be wearing the colors. She's not going to lose sleep over it if they don't.
That's right.
But she thinks it would be good if they did. And I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on that point.
Yes. Well, gee, we agree.
I just think this guy has a lot of nerve playing the patriotism card to athletes who have just dedicated themselves and their young lives to our country.
Uh-huh.
They have shown the ultimate in patriotism, as far as I'm concerned.
Uh-huh.
You agree?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Would you like to move on?
Let's go for that.
Huh?
Let's go for that. Yes.
Go for moving on.
Yes, I'm going for moving on.
Okay. I told you we were going to introduce a new segment called our Ex's Story of the Week.
Yes.
This is it.
Uh-huh.
This is a story in the Pioneer Press. We've only got about a minute before we go into the break, so I'll start it. We'll pick it up on the other side.
Okay.
Headline reads, Roseville man seeking revenge posted naked photos on Facebook and Twitter. A Roseville man has been arrested and charged after allegedly posting naked pictures of a former girlfriend using false Facebook and Twitter accounts he created in her name, according to the Anoka County Attorney's Office. Christian Richard Montgomery, 20, was charged with stalking with intent to injure, criminal defamation, and identity theft.
Uh-huh.
The ex-girlfriend became aware of the accounts and notified police that naked photos taken by Montgomery had been posted. The woman also allegedly told police Montgomery threatened to create the accounts after she told him she was no longer interested in seeing him.
Okay.
The spurned ex
Yes.
who posted naked photos. We'll continue the story on the other side of the break, folks. I'm Doug Basham along with Victoria Wayne. 257 KDWN is the number. That's 257-5396. Wise men say only fools rush in, for I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love? And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit after the bottom of the hour. The show is called X's on the Air. I'm Doug Basham, along with my co-host, Victoria Wayne. 257 KDWN is our number here at the station. That's 257-5396. Yes?
That was beautiful. I enjoyed that song that was playing very much. That was.
Did you recognize the voice?
You know, I don't know if I would have, but I eventually. That was you.
It was.
That's wonderful.
I was channeling my inner Elvis.
I like when a guy can sing. That's a turn on. That is an absolute turn on.
Thank you very much. Not that factored into me deciding to play it, but, you know. Anyhow, folks, if you have just joined us, we began the show discussing a story that got to me. V, not so much. But one of the journalists on television kind of questioned whether our athletes were being patriotic. That's when you combine patriotic and enough.
We were already into the story about the exes.
That's right, but I'm just reiterating in case someone has a thought that they would like to share.
All right.
Anyhow, he was questioning whether or not our athletes could be being more patriotic at this year's Olympics. Personally, I think the guy's a butt munch. I think that they are being as patriotic as we can expect them to be, and if they don't happen to wear the colors of the flag, whether that's their decision or someone else's, I don't think it makes them any less patriotic.
Yes, very good point.
That was my whole point.
But the next story was actually interesting. So,
because the guy posted naked pictures.
Yes, this is interesting. Well, it has to do with...
I have naked pictures of some of our athletes. Should I show you them?
No, it's not about the naked pictures. It's about being vengeful.
Exactly.
That's an interesting topic.
This is our ex's story of the week.
Yes, I like it.
This man was jilted.
Yes.
His girlfriend told him she no longer was interested in him.
He was hurt and he wanted to hurt her back.
He posted nude pictures of her on both Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
False accounts he set up in her name.
Well, teenagers people have committed suicide over people, insulting them and posting pictures and
videos of them engaged in a sexual act. You're
yes,
right.
This is definitely a identity theft.
Well, the story concludes by saying, when questioned by police, Montgomery, that's the poster, eventually admitted to the behavior, saying he was mad at the woman and wanted to embarrass her.
It is horrible. That is horrific. I don't have any understanding of being vengeful. I don't get it. I mean, there are people that I do not want to associate with, but I certainly wish them well. I cannot fathom wishing somebody embarrassment or humiliation, no matter what. I don't understand.
Well, that's a very enlightened position to take.
I genuinely feel that way, even if...
But you do realize that human nature being what it is, a lot of people aren't that enlightened, and when they're hurt, they want to strike back.
No, I don't get it. I really don't get it, especially with someone that you exchanged vows with at one time, or somebody that you once loved or made love to, someone that you had that intimacy. I don't care what they did. Don't associate with them and go on with your life. But to hurt them, to deliberately do something, to be malicious,
post naked pictures.
It's horrible.
Well, you see, this is what happens when you're not man enough to kidnap the object of your affection and imprison her in a dungeon that you've built for the next 20 years. I mean, either you're committed to the relationship or you're not. One has to decide. But posting...
Well, is that what you would do?
I would never post naked pictures. I'd build a dungeon and kidnap first. My revenge is a little more elaborate. No.
Go on.
Well, there's the other side of the question. The other side of the coin here. He posts pictures trying to embarrass her. Why would those pictures embarrass her? I mean, a lot of people consider... I'm not condoning what he did. I'm looking at another
Why would
aspect.
they embarrass her? It's none of anyone's business what you look like nude. And to post that on the internet or on Facebook, that's horrible.
I didn't say it wasn't.
Aye.
I'm just saying, why would you be embarrassed? Like I said, I preface it by saying I'm not condoning his actions.
You seem a little vengeful to me, I think. I would imagine. I don't know
Was
that.
it the dungeon comment?
I don't know that for a fact about you, but because I can't remember any situation when we were together that you were vengeful to anybody. I mean, I can't.
I'm not a vengeful person.
Yeah, I don't think you are. I can't remember anything, but I do.
Well, let's put it this way: any woman that has ever jilted me,
yes.
I have never retaliated doing anything.
Well, that's not the way. You can't. That's not kosher.
Well, you can. Of course you can. This guy did.
Yes, you can. But that's just...
There's a difference between not being able to and not supposed to.
Yes, that's the epitome of immaturity. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, grow up. I mean, that's just... that's how Facebook got started. You know that. They...
I didn't.
Yes, Facebook basically got started because...
Wait a minute. You read a news story?
No, I saw the movie.
How do you... Oh.
But the guy...
Wait a minute, I saw the movie too.
The guy was jilted by a girl that he was, looking for her attention. And I forgot what he blogged something or he posted something, a gossip about her.
It couldn't have been on Facebook because it didn't exist.
But then that's what started. He was amazed that at the university that there were so many hits on that site to read the gossip. Then he realized gossip and talk and that sells. So, a very interesting point.
But just so you know, I agree with you. I'm not condoning what he did. I think what he did was wrong. Number one, I mean, the next girlfriend you have, you're going to want to get some pictures for her, too. If she finds out you posted pictures of the girl before her, they're going to be pretty hard to get. Plus, posting naked pictures of your ex is a good way to broadcast to the world that you were dumped in the first place.
Yes, but
there's nothing positive for this guy in doing this.
No, it's
now
ridiculous.
We're talking about him on the air.
Yeah, it's horrible though. I do think that's horrible that what he did. I mean, it's just unnecessary.
I agree, but let me ask you this: if someone were to do that to you,
yes,
you would be angry because it's wrong.
Yes.
Would you be embarrassed?
Absolutely.
Why? You have one of the nicest figures I've ever seen.
Would I be embarrassed? Let me tell you. I went with Troy to this wonderful vacation a couple of months ago. You remember? And he on Facebook posted some pictures that he took of me on the beach. I flipped out. I flipped out when I saw them. I was enraged. Like, how dare you not call me and ask me first?
Like I said, I knew
and I was not. I was very.
I knew you would be angry. My question was, were you embarrassed?
I was embarrassed because he put pictures that I felt I looked fat. He's oblivious and didn't think that I looked fat and said, "You look fine in that." And I go, "Take it off. Take it off. I don't want anyone to see that. I don't feel I look good. I feel I am unattractive." Humiliated.
Really?
Yeah. And they weren't that bad, but they were bad enough to make me angry.
But then can we turn this in a different direction and question why women would allow their current significant others to take pictures of them in the first place?
Well, that used to be a topic of discussion with, girlfriends at happy hour. But nowadays with everybody...
Really?
Sure.
And I wasn't invited?
But nowadays with everybody having a camera in their telephone, it's like anyone can take pictures of you at any time and you don't know it. I mean, cameras are so tiny and it's built into pens.
But usually when you're naked and you're with your significant other, they're taking pictures.
Yes. I've never let anybody take pictures of me nude. I'm trying to think. I never let you take pictures of me nude, ever. And the only pictures I have of me that are nude is on a beach, and I am topless. Or I've taken it myself in the mirror because I thought I looked thin that day or something. But no, I don't have any film of me doing anything or pictures of me or anything like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I want to dovetail this story into something that you and I have talked about many, many times. It kind of centers around exes.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily have to. And that's the question of men and women being friends.
Yes.
I have because you think that's
yes
possible.
Absolutely.
And I told you that it's not the same with guys. The guys think differently. And I'm not sure all women think the same as you, but I know that most guys think differently than you and find it more difficult to be a friend to a woman.
I'm friends with almost all of my exes, and there's no problem.
You do understand that that's not the norm.
No, I really don't understand that. I don't see what the issue is.
You think that every woman keeps in touch with all her exes?
No, I think that you were one that I didn't keep in touch with, and you were one that wouldn't make it as a friend because it just wouldn't have worked with you. But there are others that when you are both equally over each other, when you are never going to be with him again and he is never going to be with you again, and there was just something compatible about your personalities, then yes, it works as a friend. They're the best friends you can have because they genuinely know you and they know all your faults, and yet you can still enjoy a meal together every now and then or a phone conversation.
But that's your female perspective, not necessarily the male perspective. And the reason I bring it up,
Yes.
I found a story.
Okay.
Headline reads, "Sorry, ladies, but we men can never just be your friends," as scientific research confirms.
Yes.
Here's the story. Ladies, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you know that wonderful male friend who offers you a shoulder to cry on or company when you can't get a date on Saturday night? The one you are absolutely certain has no sexual interest in you whatsoever? That man is a liar. That man is a cheat. He is a con man guilty of friendship fraud. I know this because that man is me, and he's every other man too. Then he talks about the movie When Harry Met Sally,
Yes.
which dealt with the same issue.
Yes.
He said, "This week, science has declared that Harry was right all along. In a survey by the University of Wisconsin, 88 sets of male and female friends were asked to rate their attraction to each other in a confidential questionnaire. It found that men, whether attached or single, were more likely to be attracted to their female friends and want to go on a date with them than the other way around. Put simply, it means that given half a chance, most men would jump at the opportunity of having sex with their female friends."
Again, you put so much emphasis on sex and such a big deal. So what say your friend wants to have sex with you? So what?
Sweetheart, that's how guys are hardwired. No pun intended.
But so what? I'm not saying that might not sometimes be a thought in their head or a factor in some way. But if you did have sex with them as the female, would that end your friendship? Is that their only ulterior motive to listen to your problems and to be there is because that's what they want? So what?
Well, according to this survey, that is the thought in a lot of men's heads.
Okay. So why does that bothers you too much too? Like, so what?
What do you mean? This bothers me too much.
It bothers you that somebody else would have sexual thoughts. It's like, what difference does that make? Most people have sexual thoughts.
I'm the one that's telling you. You've lost me.
What I mean is that that does not mean that a genuine friendship still exists. Just because he might have a thought in his head about, wanting to be intimate, so what? I mean, I think about it. I look at every ex that I am friends with, and they may or may not, some may, some definitely don't, have a thought of having sex with me. I really don't care. I mean, I think they know that's not going to happen. And if they're thinking it, so what? And then even if it did happen, does that mean that the friendship would end?
Well, if they are thinking it,
yes,
and you're aware that they're thinking it, or you acknowledge that they could be thinking it,
okay,
do you think that's fair on your part to keep it on a friendship level?
Well, I think there's a difference between sex and a relationship. I think they don't want a relationship again. What, do they want to have some fun in the back room for 5 minutes? I mean, and I'm not going to do that, but I don't care what they're thinking.
Now, the reason you wouldn't do that, is that because it would change the friendship?
No, absolutely not. It wouldn't change the friendship.
It wouldn't?
No. But you can't have sex with somebody without it being a relationship, or without it being, it changes the.
Well, I am going to go out on a limb here, and I would say that most men and even most women would say that if you had sex with someone, it's going to change the parameters of your relationship.
I'm talking about an ex. I'm not talking about a new person.
An ex. If they're in a quasi-friendship relationship with an ex, and then they had a backward slide, and they had sex with them, I would venture to say that that's going to change the relationship. Now, they're going to say, oh, we made a mistake, that shouldn't happen again. But it happened. And it's going to... At least I think that's what most people would say.
Well,
it would change the relationship.
You definitely, you have a point. You do have a point. And it wouldn't change it to me. That's what I'm saying. And I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't sleep with any of my exes that I am friends with. I absolutely would not do that.
Of course, you just mentioned that you and I aren't friends, so... Anyway, no, this study says that the thought of sex is always on guys' minds. Do you believe that?
No, I don't. I think women want sex more than men want sex. Men like variety, and women are more into the frequency of it. But no, I think women think about sex just as much. But sex is psychological, and I think when you look at your ex and go, ugh, I remember why that person's my ex, and I'm not going to go there again.
Well, not to stereotype genders, but tell me if you agree with this.
Yes.
There's a school of thought. It says that men and women both want sex the same amount, but one would rather have separate partners every time, obviously the man. The other, the female, would rather a repeat partner.
Oh, absolutely.
You think that's true?
Absolutely.
You think men want a different partner every time?
I don't know about every time, but yes, men are into variety and women not so much.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm not into variety at all.
Something else I read up on this.
Yes.
It states that women want you to want them even if they have zero interest in ever sleeping with you. Do you agree with that?
Well, they want you to make them feel attractive, or, that you want to be looked at and admired no matter what. So I guess that's saying, not necessarily, I'm not thinking it through to the degree of, ooh, he still wants to sleep with me. But I am thinking, did he notice my shoes? Did he compliment my shoes?
Okay, what about people
That's what I'm thinking.
What about people that aren't exes? Do you think
Those
a man...
are hot shoes.
They are hot shoes.
Thank you.
Man and a woman. They've never been lovers before.
Yes.
They're in a friendship now.
Yes.
Do you think that... What thoughts? Do you think the man has no thoughts of sleeping with that woman?
I'm not a psychic. Well, maybe a little, but I don't know what he's thinking, and
But see, here's what I would submit: if you're going to be friends with someone, it's
Yes.
because they have qualities or characteristics that you admire.
Yes,
Say
but I
sense
have-
of humor, personality, aesthetics, whatever.
the same thing with a same-sex friend, same thing with a girlfriend. I don't want to have sex with her, but that doesn't even cross my mind. But I admire her, I respect her, I look up to her. But
Right, but I'm saying, as far as a guy, from a guy's standpoint, if he's going to be friends with you, it's because you have characteristics and qualities that he admires.
Yes.
Those are the same qualities he's looking for in a relationship. Therefore, why wouldn't there be that sexual attraction?
Not everybody wants a relationship. I don't want a relationship.
Oh, no, I didn't say he wanted. I just said there would be the same qualities he would find attractive in a friend are the same ones he would find attractive in a relationship, whether he wants one or not.
So-
Therefore, the desire, the urge to sleep with that friend.
So all his
Getting
buddies,
back to the original point of the story.
all his buddies, he has those thoughts as well.
Only if he's gay. We're talking about a hetero. Let's assume that the man is
But you're
heterosexual and he's
saying-
having a friendship with a woman.
You're saying a man isn't capable of having that because he's so preoccupied.
I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you what the study says. The study says yes. That's it.
I think a man and a woman can be friends without sex being an issue. Yes, definitely. Certainly is on my part. And if it's an issue on their part, that's
Oh,
Not my
I
problem.
agree with you. There can be a platonic relationship between a man and a woman.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that according to this article and conversations you and I have, the guy's thinking different or other than or more than friendship.
But this is what I meant about these things bother you. Because what the other guy, when you're in a relationship, and even though you trust your woman, it bothers you what other guys are thinking. Do you remember when we were together, you used to pick out my clothes before I was allowed to leave the house? Do you remember that? You had to choose.
Of course not.
Well, it happened. You had to choose what I was going to wear because you didn't want other guys thinking things unless you were by my side. Now, if I was on your arm, then it was a compliment to you if guys were looking at me. But if I was out with my girlfriend alone,
So in other words, if you were going out with your girlfriends, I would pick a turtleneck.
you don't
If
seriously.
you and I were going out together,
you pick something. Oh God! But seriously, you don't remember that?
no.
Oh, Douglas! Oh my goodness! I would have to take my skinny,
I have
sexy.
blocked everything from our relationship
Yes,
that
you
makes
have.
me look bad.
I would carry a big purse and have to sneak my sexy little spandex dress in my purse before I could go out with Karen, my girlfriend at the time, to happy hour. And because I could change because you made me wear a sweatshirt to leave the house. Honestly, I swear.
You snuck a spandex outfit in your purse?
I thought it was so.
No wonder I didn't trust you. I couldn't.
I never did
Boy,
anything.
I was way out of line.
I never did anything, but I thought that was just the silliest thing is that you would make this big fuss and going through my clothes in the closet going, you're going out with Karen? You're going to wear this. And I'd be like, whatever.
Oh, okay. And let me ask you this. What guy on this planet that you have ever met,
Yes.
given that situation you just painted,
Yes.
would go through the closet and say, okay, here, wear this skin-tight, skimpy spandex outfit?
Well, I think most men that I would have relationships with would trust me, and it wouldn't be an issue what
you-
I wore.
You know, you are adorable, but so delusional.
You know, that's why I said earlier is I don't want to be in a relationship because I don't want anyone to tell me what I'm going to wear, what I'm going to do. I don't want to be dominated or controlled in any way.
But you just said that every other man on this planet except me would trust you enough to let you wear skimpy spandex outfits going out with Karen.
Yes, you
Now
know.
you're saying you don't want to be in a relationship. Why? Because they're like me?
Well, they were controlling in other ways, but not you were extreme. But when I think about every ex, and the names are going through my head, none of them.
Is this your
cared.
mental ex Rolodex? We'll call it your Rolodex.
Nobody cared what I wore. When I lived with Don and I went out with Liz to happy hour, and we would dress like you can't imagine, the shortest skirts and the lowest cut things and the highest heels.
Okay.
And we would go out. And Don didn't think I was going to be with someone else because I was with my girlfriend Liz at a bar because I was dressed that way.
Which begs the question.
Yes.
If you're with someone else, why would you want to go out with your girlfriend dressed like that?
Well, number one, because that's just an astounding question, because number one, I dress for me, so I feel feminine and I feel sexy and maybe skinny sometimes. I dress, too, for my girlfriend, because I love when you get in the car and she goes, oh, my God, where'd you get those shoes? And when you go into the ladies' room, the stranger in the next stall looks underneath and goes, oh, my God, look at those shoes. And that's what I'm really number one dressed for. And then I dress for me. And no one can tell me what I should or shouldn't do. I mean, that's why I don't want to be in a relationship, without a doubt. I mean, I don't want to be told what to do. But you were extreme.
I was extreme.
I would call it controlling, yes. Yes, you were extreme. No one else picked out my clothes. You don't remember that?
I don't.
That's amazing.
Well,
That's
keep in
amazing.
mind the bit about the spandex outfit I just learned today. How often did you do this?
Every time I left the house.
Really?
But I was very faithful.
I do remember how you showed up for our divorce hearing.
Yes.
That was probably the hottest outfit I ever seen. I was like, oh, boy, she's really sticking it to me today.
I still have that outfit.
That was well played. Anyhow, folks, I think we're about at the end of today's rope. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back next week, hopefully with you. Until then, take care.
KDWN Las Vegas, your 2012 election station.